Okay, we will call the meeting to order. If we can have a roll call, please.
Fuller,
Here.
DeLomo,
Here.
Littman, Ashkenazi,
Here.
Shimura, DeGenero,
Here.
Lineski,
Here.
Pugielli,
Here.
Karamanica,
Here.
Chairwoman Beal.
Here. Okay, we can stand to salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag and the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the notice requirements of the open public meeting law for this meeting have been satisfied. A copy of the notice having been sent to the Asbury Park Press and the Coaster and filed in the office of the Township Clerk on July 21st, 2023. There is an emergency exit through the courtroom doors and 2 exits at the rear of the room. There will be no smoking. No new cases will be started after 10 o'clock p.m. and no new testimony taken after 10:30 p.m. In addition, the applicant will be limited to 45 minutes of testimony. All meetings will be video and audio taped and shown on the Township of Ocean's Community Cable Channel, Channel 22 on Verizon Fios, and Channel 77 on Cablevision. All cell phones must be turned off, or if you need to make a call, please make your call outside of the meeting room. We have the minutes from August 17th, 2023. I will move to accept. Is there a second?
Second.
Is this all in favor?
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. We have the following resolution memorializations. Marcy Sultan, 17 Shadow Lawn Drive, Block 25, Lot 43. Deborah Harmody, 64 Park Boulevard, Block 95, Lot 1. Memo Investments, 44 Monmouth Road, Block 7, Lot 51. And someone offer? Oh, I'm sorry.
Was that the commercial one, Memo Investments?
LLC.
Yeah, there's 3 of them. 3 resolutions.
For 44 Monmouth Road, there's
Yeah.
3 resolutions.
3 resolutions.
They
Okay.
can all be voted together.
Okay.
So we have to do each one, correct?
Hmm?
Do we have to do each one?
No, they'll vote it together. That's fine. I don't know. In other
DeGenero?
words, we're at a different meeting, so
Right, because,
Sultan and Harmony are one vote
One.
and Memo could be the other.
okay.
This is for Sultan and Harmony.
Yes. No, you aren't. DeGenero?
Yes.
Lineski?
Yes.
Pugielli?
Yes.
Chairwoman Beal.
Yes. Okay, next 3 for Memo Investments, LLC.
Ashkenazi?
Yes.
DeGenero?
Yes.
Lineski?
Yes.
Karamanica?
Yes.
Chairwoman Beal.
Yes. Okay, the following cases will be carried to June 19th. Please note that is a separate, that's a different date than our regularly scheduled June 20th meeting. The first case does need to renotice. Amanda Simonecki and Ryan Grove, 238 Overbrook Avenue, Block 22, Lot 33. And the following case is carried to June 19th. No need to further notice. And this is due to revised recommendations from one of our experts. IAAT Services, LLC, 1700 Highway 35, Oakhurst 07755, Block 34, Lot 12, Zone C2. And IIT Services, LLC, 1418 Highway 35, Oakhurst 07755, Block 182, Lot 7, Zone 0-140. Okay, our first case, Hannah Boyce, 904 Grassmere Avenue, Ocean 07712, Block 87, Lot 9, Zone R5. Applicant seeks approval to construct a 2-story rear addition with deck and rinse stations, covered front porch, and install an AC condenser. The rinse station and AC condenser conform to the accessory structure setback requirements. However, the shed is within the 5-feet accessory building side yard setback. And Ms. Boyce, if you can raise your right hand, do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth?
Yes.
Okay, and do you have,
This is my husband.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Boyce?
Spiller.
Spiller? If you can just raise your right hand, do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth?
I do.
Okay, you two can have a seat, and I will turn it over to our experts first, and we will mark the packet.
Shirley, it's a 8,803 square foot lot. It has 59 feet of frontage and 166 feet of depth, so it's very narrow and deep. There are pre-existing non-conforming conditions, and basically what they're trying to do is expand the residence generally within the confines of the pre-existing non-conforming conditions. They're putting a very small covered porch in the front of the building that will be 4 feet deep, so therefore it'll reduce the front yard setback for that area of that covered porch to 21.2 feet where 30 feet is required. There's 25.2 feet exists now. And the side yard setback, what's required is 8.5 feet, which is 15% of the lot width. The zone requires a 75-foot lot width, so if you had a conforming lot with, in terms of width, the setback would be greater, permitted would be greater. They're actually just proposing to maintain the second-story addition over the existing setback of the existing first story. I don't really have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with the accessory structure setback, which is the deck at the rear of the building. Again, it's just maintaining the existing setback of the building.
Okay. And Mr. Pavlik?
Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties right here.
No, I understood.
Crashing on me
You
at the
you have
worst
no
spot.
problems with this.
Yes. We have no engineering issues with this
Yeah,
application.
they gave you a grading plan and your office
Okay.
is satisfied with it.
Ms. Boyce and Mr. Spiller, if you can just tell us about your request and the need.
So we're just looking to put a rear addition on the existing deck that's currently there. We're looking to just expand the footprint of our house to add an additional bedroom. And we want to work within the confines of what we have, and we really don't want to change the profile of the house or really do much. Our whole goal is to keep it looking like a traditional Cape Cod as it currently stands.
Okay. And do you have an expert here with you that you would like to give testimony? Okay, if you can state your name.
Sure, Anthony Ercolino with Passman Ercolino Architects.
Okay, and if you can raise your right hand, do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth?
Yes.
Okay, and I believe you've testified before this board and will continue to accept your credentials.
Thank you. All right, so the existing, you can see the existing one-story dwelling that's, or 1.5-story dwelling that's there now. One-story. There's an existing deck to the rear of it, which is going to be taken off, and then a new addition to be put on there, and then continue a new deck towards the rear of it. Now, since these drawings were given to you, the deck itself is shown at an elevation of 54.17. We've split it into two separate decks, an upper deck and a lower deck, a piece towards the back that's
Oh.
actually closer to the
I'm
property
sorry, you
line.
need to use the mic. You're not getting picked up.
Okay. Okay. So the portion that's too close to the property line is actually being dropped down lower. So it'll only be about 16 inches above the grade at this point. And I have new drawings. I can hand these out to somebody.
I believe we need to mark.
I just made 3 copies of it for now. I'll make whatever you need
We need to mark those
for
as well.
future.
We're not reviewing your plans tonight.
That's okay. It's really just the deck that got lowered. The back portion of the deck got lowered. Everything else is staying exactly the same. The structure is not
But
changing.
the outline of the deck remains the same.
The outline of the deck is exactly the same. We just lowered the back portion of it so that it's lower to the ground. What that enabled us to do was get rid of the railings around it so that when we're sitting inside looking out, we don't have to see the railings. All right, so the architecture part of it is, we're adding a family room and a mudroom towards the rear of the house. And then there's a hallway going to the existing kitchen that leads out to what's now going to be the upper deck and the lower deck. Crawl space. Very important. On the second floor, and we've actually jogged the addition in about a foot from the side. So the side, this is where the side yard setback, we were kind of close, so we actually jogged it in a little bit. Architecturally, it looks better the way it connects to the house, and it gives us a little bit more space to that side yard.
Now, both stories are jogged in, or is it cantilever?
No, they're both stories are jogging in.
So it's 1 foot less than the existing?
Correct.
Okay.
1 foot more than the existing.
No, less.
Less,
The
okay.
side yard setback
Side yard
is-
setback.
Yeah, the side yard
More,
setback
you're
is
right.
more.
Yeah, okay,
He's right.
That's right. Yeah,
The size, the building is 1 foot less. but
Yeah.
The side
yeah,
yard is
yeah,
1
the
foot
side
more.
yard setback is more, yes.
Okay, you're right.
So it was basically to add a master suite. Bathroom, bedroom area, and a walk-in closet, which none of these houses have, these small capes. So it's still got the 2 existing bedrooms towards the front. As for the front porch, which I ignored, yes, we have an existing stoop and steps, or the front porch and steps. We're just putting 2 columns out and covering it with a roof. I'll show you the elevation of that. So on the front, we'll have this aesthetic, a couple of columns, and a gable roof. Again, similar in pitch to the pitch that's on the existing dormers. On the rear of the house, this is the master bedroom up top and the family room down below. And then this is the master bathroom and then the mudroom down below. This is the stovepipe for the, is it wood burning stove?
Yeah.
Finishes?
Finishes?
Will
Oh,
all match?
Oh, yeah, yes.
yeah. Well, no, you're doing new horizontal siding. We're
Oh.
changing the siding right
Oh.
on the whole house.
Yeah,
So it's gonna be all new siding.
But it'll all match.
It will all
Yeah,
match,
yeah.
Well, it
yes.
doesn't have to match, new siding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Siding, house, and a new roof,
We're matching the roof,
match roof, okay.
yeah, to match existing. So new siding, and we're gonna match the roof. Any other questions?
Questions from board members? Okay, any questions or comments from the public at this point? Okay, motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So it's for the front yard setback, side yard setback, and the accessory structure setbacks. Okay. Someone offer?
I'll offer for positive
Second.
resolution.
Who's second? Fuller,
Yes.
Delomo,
Yes.
Ashkenazi,
Yes.
DeGenaro,
Yes.
Janeski,
Yes.
Puccielli,
Yes.
Caramanica,
Yes.
and Chairwoman Beal.
Yes. Okay, best of luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Next case is Marjorie Hamui, 232 Overbrook Avenue, Oakhurst 07755, Block 22, Lot 31 in the R4 zone. Applicant is seeking to demolish existing single-family dwelling and construct a new 2-story single-family dwelling with a covered front porch and rear deck and new driveway. Minimum required lot width is 90 feet where 75 feet exist, and 75 feet is proposed. The minimum driveway side yard setback is 5 feet, which 1 foot is proposed. And did I pronounce that correctly, Hamui?
Hamawi.
Hamawi, okay. Ms. Hamawi, if you can raise your right hand, do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth?
Yes.
Okay, and I will turn it over to our experts, and if we can mark the packet, please.
Okay, basically, the lot width is an existing condition. There's no way it can reasonably be changed. So there's clearly a hardship there. The driveway side setback, the ordinance requires 5 feet. They're proposing a 1-foot driveway side setback, which would be a problem if you had a residence on the lot next to it. But what you do have is a very wide grassed area that's actually part of the right-of-way of the road leading to Poplar Village. So aesthetically, somebody's going to look at it and not realize that driveway is 5 feet, is not 5 feet from the property line. So I don't have a big problem with that. And also, there's a issue of whether this is building or not within the floodplain, and I defer to the board engineer in that regard.
Okay,
Yeah, we issued a couple of reviews for this one, the most recent being May 13th. Yes, it's in the flood hazard area zone. It's in elevation 28. So any improvements would have to comply with the flood damage prevention ordinance. That's our first comment. The second comment kind of goes hand in hand with that. It's specifically related to flood vents for the crawl space. So again, any construction would have to comply with the flood damage prevention ordinance.
Isn't that the date of that report?
May 13th. And we have some other technical comments, sidewalk replacement, the leader drains that are
Excuse
tying.
me, Drew, can you move your mic closer?
Sure. We have some other smaller technical comments related to the plans. Add a couple of details on there. They would have to get a township road opening permit for any work in the right-of-way. And then it looks like the leader drains are going under some sidewalk. They should show on the plan that the sidewalk is going to be replaced in that area. Other than that, those are all the engineering-related issues we have.
So, if they comply with your letter, then you're okay with the floodplains variance?
Correct. Well, they would have to comply with. There shouldn't be a variance. They should comply with.
Well, I
with
think
the
they need a
ordinance.
variance. Right, Jim?
Yeah, they
They
need a
need a
variance for
variance.
any construction within the floodplain,
Floodplain, they need
even
a
if it's a
variance.
driveway.
But,
Yeah.
even if you're, whatever it is, but if they're complying with the requirements, that would be the mitigation to grant the variance.
Right.
okay. And so items 5, 6, and 7 also remain. The grading plan, the apron, and the township road opening permit, those still stand?
Right.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Hamawi, if you can tell us about your request, and I believe you also have an expert.
Yes. So, my name is Marjorie Hamawi. We actually bought this house because it's next door to my parents, and it's just way too small for our family, and we wanted to make it bigger so that we can fit comfortably there. We love the neighborhood and just want to be there.
Okay. And sir, if you can speak into the microphone, if you can state your name.
My name is James Connor. I'm with Mike Savarese and Associates. I'm the architect for the project.
Okay.
New
And if
Jer-
you, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm a New Jersey licensed architect. I've appeared in front of you guys before, and if I can, I'll take you through the plans. I've been I've been an architect for licensed for 3 years. I've been working in Monmouth County for 20 years now. Graduated from Drexel University.
Okay. If you can just rate,
James Connor, Connor.
and if you can just raise your right hand, do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth?
I do.
Okay, you can take us through.
So, as Marjorie had stated, the concept of this plan was to create a home that's large enough to accommodate the expanding family, and also something that they can, ultimately grow into. This is like a forever type home, right next to their parents, so they can enjoy, close family get-togethers and whatnot.
What side are your parents on?
They're on the other
That
side.
side? And the
Yeah.
other side is the roadway into,
Right, it's
Yes.
just the street.
there's no land on either side that you
Well,
could.
my
buy.
parents.
Well, but they have a lot. If you
Yes.
take it away
Yes.
from them, they're gonna have to come to us.
Right.
Yes.
No, that's a finding that we can make, that there's no additional land available to eliminate the variance.
Oh, no.
And so, to take through the initial comments from the engineer, schematically, we have flood vents which are not labeled, but they are shown on the crawl space. We know that they are necessary. They will be included in the final plans. They've just not been calculated as for size yet, so we will definitely include all that and make sure we comply with his request on that one. And as well as all of the additional information that we need to include between our grading plan and our construction documents. We have no problem complying with every one of CME's points 2 through 7. So to take you through the plans a little bit. Primarily what we really needed was a large kitchen and a large dining room. So that is what's taking up this side of the home. As you know, they have a large family. Get-togethers, can go upwards of 20 people, so it's necessary to accommodate that kind of a gathering. And then adjacent, they wanted a nice family room and breakfast room that they would use on a daily basis. We wanted to utilize an open concept plan, as our footprint was not, as large as we, would typically have liked, given the constraints of the site. But we did our best to comply with everything. And then it was important also to put a screened room as part of the everyday function, because it can get a little buggy over in that neighborhood, and they wanted to be able to enjoy it mostly through the summer. And then as we go upstairs, and part of the concept was to include an elevator for the possibility of aging and staying in place. And on the second floor, we have a large master bedroom that would utilize the entire back of the property, with 3 additional bedrooms to accommodate their family, and a front-facing balcony over the front door with the laundry room. Since we didn't have the ability to have a basement where we would like to put a lot of the functions, we decided to move the functions up to the attic space to create a habitable attic half-story, which would include a room for either guests or housekeeping, a loft area, an additional bathroom, and access to the mechanical room that we couldn't put in the basement. And then on the outside, we wanted to use a kind of like a Hamptons beach house style, low-pitched roofs, cedar impressions or cedar shake, depending on what the budget comes back at. Kind of exterior, some wood accents, and kind of keeping it very minimalistic and plain, but still speaking to the vernacular of the neighborhood. We pushed the half-story attic space back as far as we could, so it wouldn't be so dominant on the street plane. So it's located about midpoint of the overall house. And then this is just the other 2 elevations. This is the rear elevation with the screened porch area shown. We wanted to, again, as we start to get away from the street and everything and towards that Poplar Village, start to diminish the scale of it again. Really trying not to impact and be so dominant in the landscape. And the square footages, just so I had them, I want to make sure we included them. The first floor square footage is 2,324 square feet. The second floor square footage is 2,166 square feet. And the attic square footage is 709 square feet, where if you did a third of the second floor, would have allowed for 722 square feet. So our overall concept was to comply with every zoning ordinance that we could, other than the fact that the lot width was non-conforming. And since we had to come here for the variance anyway, we thought asking for the wider driveway was within reason. So, thank you.
Okay. Questions from board members? Nothing? Okay. Questions or comments from the public? Okay. Motion to close the public hearing?
Make a motion to close. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. And someone offer?
Offer positive resolution. I'll second.
Okay.
Fuller,
Yes.
Hoff,
Yes.
Ashkenazi,
Yes.
DeGenaro,
Yes.
Lineski,
Yes.
Puglielli,
Yes.
Manica,
Yes.
Chairwoman Beal.
Yes. Okay. Best of
so
luck.
much. Thank you.
Next is Lewis and Jacqueline Massery, 500 Runyon Avenue, West Deal, 07723, Block 40, Lot 16, Zone R2. Applicant proposes to demolish the existing one-story dwelling and construct a new two-story single-family dwelling. Minimum lot size 22,500 square feet required, 21,696 square feet proposed. The attorney is James Baruch. Did I?
Very close, Baruby, thank you.
Barubi, okay.
Thank you, Ms. Beal. Good evening, members of the board. I'm James Baruby, I'm an attorney in Little Silver, New Jersey. I'm here on behalf of Mr. and Mrs. Massery, who are here. They're the owners of the property, and their application is to demolish the one-story family dwelling that's on the property now to allow the reconstruction of a two-story family dwelling to suit their growing family needs. I have with me today John Belezza, a professional engineer, as well as Tom Lavin, who is the architect who submitted the prints before you as well. If I might just have the application marked A1 for identification and the prints of Mr. Belezza marked A2 for identification. Thank you. As Ms. Beal has mentioned, the application requires a variance because of a pre-existing non-conforming condition, that being lot square footage. And I'll represent and can provide testimony that the surrounding properties are single-family residences fully built out. There is no property that can be acquired in order to satisfy the need for that variance. There was also a note from the engineer.
We usually have them, want the engineer to go?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We usually let our professionals like sort of tell
Oh.
us in the report. Okay?
I
And then this way you
apologize.
can address
Okay.
any
Fair enough.
questions or
Thank you,
concerns.
Mr. Steinberg.
But you were on a roll. Good job, thank you.
Let
Okay.
them do your work.
I will just summarize, the only variance that's necessary is a minimal variance for lot area. 22,500 square feet is required, and the existing lot is 21,696 square feet, and they appear to meet all the other requirements of the ordinance. My report did say that they should amend the tables on the plans to comply with the current ordinance requirements, which they did, and I couldn't see doing a new report just to,
Oh,
just for
okay.
that reason.
That's
Yeah,
good.
so basically, it's only the one variance.
Okay. Mr. Pavlik?
We had 4 comments in our review letter. The date is April 3rd of this year. The first one is just that a detail for trench repair should be added to the plans, and limits of pavement repair and sidewalk replacement should be on the plans. The second comment is related to the sanitary sewer lateral and the depth. I'd like to hear if an injector pump would be required. I think, well, have your engineer testify to that.
No, we won't. Thank you.
Third comment, there was a difference in the plans. I think the architectural showed a 2.1 foot difference in elevation between the finished grade and the first floor, whereas the plot plans showed a 3 foot difference. so not quite a foot. If that could be rectified there. And the last comment we had was related to stormwater mitigation. We'd recommend that something be included to mitigate the increase in impervious area.
Mr. Berube, now it's your turn, and if you can address the comments as well.
Thank you. Ms. Beal, if I might have Mr. Beletska sworn?
Okay, if you can raise your right hand, do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and have you testified before this board before?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
I'm a licensed engineer, a licensed planner, certified municipal engineer in the state. Testified here many times.
okay. We will continue to accept.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Beal. Mr. Beletski, you've prepared the plans that have been marked for evidence purposes today, is that correct?
Yes, the engineering plan.
Thank you. There are a series of 5 plans associated, is that correct?
Yes.
And you've reviewed the letter of Mr. Matlack from CME, the engineer for the township?
Yes.
All right. If you could address those requests 1 through 4.
We can address items 1 through 3, no problem. As far as number 4 goes, stormwater management, if you refer to sheet 3, the demolition plan, and sheet 1, compare them, they're very similar. There's an existing house, an existing driveway, and as far as the stormwater ordinance in the township goes, this is not considered major development. As a matter of fact, applicants are going to request a waiver from the requirement in the engineer's letter due to the fact that, number 1, we're increasing the impervious area on the property by less than 600 square feet, approximately 595 square feet additional impervious area. It's almost identical. Number 2, we're well under the maximum permitted lot coverage of 45%. In the existing condition, we're about 24.1% lot coverage, total lot coverage impervious, and that goes up to 26.8% in the proposed condition. And the third reason being that it does not meet the definition of major development to which your stormwater management ordinance addresses on-site recharge systems. So we're respectfully requesting that waiver be granted from that, from the engineer's letter. In addition, I also did the soil borings on the property. We did 2. They're shown on sheet 3. In the backyard, which is about 3 feet higher in elevation than the one that we did in the front yard. We got a groundwater of about 96 inches, seasonal high water table. And in the front yard, we got a groundwater elevation of about 66 inches there. So that's about 5.5 feet in the front yard. The water was evident. The applicant does wish to have a basement, and we've designed it such that it's 1 foot above the groundwater table. So that's another reason that we would request to the board to grant, and the engineer, to grant that waiver from the item in the letter such that it would not put any more water into the ground than there is now.
And in your opinion, the plans that you've drafted with the calculations that you provided will adequately will retain stormwater based on this application, is that correct?
Yeah, the increase in stormwater, like I said, since we're adding less than 600 square feet of impervious area, the post-development rate and volume of runoff will be not too much larger than the pre-development level.
All right. And you indicated earlier that you could satisfy numbers 1, 2, and 3 of Mr. Matlack's letter of April 3rd, is that correct?
Yep.
And you will do that on revised plans, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Why don't we let our engineer?
I was going to ask,
Yeah.
are you finished, Mr. Berube?
Certainly.
With
Ask
Okay.
the engineer.
Mr. Pavlik, are you in agreement with the waiver for number 4?
I understand I understand the request and the reason for it. Can you give us a little more detail as to how the site is going to operate as far as stormwater? Where is it going? What's going on with the leader drains and downspouts?
And you may need to use the microphone.
Yes, sure, Drew. I will. If you take a look at sheet 2, that's a grading and drainage plan. House sits on a lot that drains. The house is at the high point of the lot. Up is north, referring to the plan, and the stormwater drains towards Monmouth Road and towards Runyon Avenue, towards both of the road right-of-ways. And we are not changing the watershed pattern of development on the property. The post-development will still drain towards both of the roadways. So no additional, no increased volume or rate or volume of stormwater will be directed toward any of the existing neighbors.
Okay, and the roof runoff, the downspouts, are they directed towards the road?
Yes, I can actually add roof leader locations based on the architectural plans and show their location and their direction of surface flow, and also add a note to the plan that they should be directed towards the right-of-way and not towards any other adjacent properties.
Okay, and are you aware of any drainage issues or capacity issues in the roads there, in the existing system? And
Nope.
Once it gets into the road, where is it going from there?
Once it hits the roadways, it would enter into the municipal storm drain system.
In that system, I see one inlet on the plan. Do you know where that system discharges to, where it's going from there?
Yeah, there's one inlet shown on Monmouth Road, but where it drains to, I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, I understand the request. If they were to put a dry well, near the house, there could be issues with groundwater mounding related to the basement. Looks here like the basement is at the ground floor of the basement. Floor of the basement is 35.9. Right, so a dry well would theoretically have to be a bit deeper than that. I don't have any major concerns with that, assuming that there are no significant issues with drainage in the road. If that system is undersized or if it starts to create any issues, I'd recommend that a condition be put in there that they would have to address it.
So you support the waiver with the condition, with that condition? Okay.
Thank you.
I'm sorry?
What was the condition?
If any drainage issues were to arise from this construction, they would be responsible to address.
Well, they already
And
have,
mitigate.
yeah, okay. But did you want them to give anything off-site, or? As long as it flows, you're okay.
Right, correct.
Could we make that subject to building approvals? That drainage plan will be reviewed at the time of the building application.
Right, that should be reviewed anyway. I'm saying once construction is completed,
Mhm.
if there are any issues that would arise,
Oh,
they would have to be
post-construction.
addressed. Correct.
All right,
Okay.
fair enough.
Oh, I'm sorry. Any questions from board members? Questions from the public? Okay. Mr. Baruthy?
Thank you, Ms. Beal. There was one other item that was noted in Ms. Maloney's letter, the zoning officer's letter, that evidently the borough ordinance had been changed and the proposed driveway that's shown in the application was short. We proposed 35.6 feet from a corner of a parcel where 50 feet is required. That was not indicated originally, but we are able to address that if the board so desires.
Just trying to find that.
That's Ms. Maloney's letter of April 5th.
Oh, the drive, okay.
I missed, I was looking at something else.
I have a couple of copies here if you need it, Mr. Higgins.
The second page. Any comments for that, Mr. Higgins, that you're aware of?
That's in Kate Maloney's letter of April 5th. You have that there, because I don't have it.
I got one.
Send next week. Thanks. Thanks.
Can I use yours?
Yes, certainly.
Okay, no, I did miss that one. I don't see how, well, they can avoid it, but then they'd have to have the driveway away from the house. So, I don't see that as a major concern in this neighborhood.
Okay.
What do you mean,
Yeah.
the driveway in order to be?
Mr.
Driveway to the other side?
What Kate Maloney was referring to is the,
Corner lot.
on a corner lot, we're on Monmouth Road and Runyon Ave. The distance from the corner to the edge of the driveway I'm showing on the plan here, which would be going west from the Monmouth Road right away, is in the ordinance 50 feet minimum, and its dimensions on sheet number 2 on the, on number 1 on the plans you have. That distance, instead of 50 feet as required, it's approximately 35.6 feet. And if you refer back to sheet 3, the demolition plan, the existing driveway exits onto Monmouth Road, which is a much busier road than Runyon Avenue. Runyon Avenue being a dead-end street. So the driveway was designed to remove the access off the busier road of Monmouth Road and put a turnaround on Runyon Avenue, the dead-end street, such that we could accommodate a vehicle to never have to back out onto the right-of-way.
Yeah, that's the key here. I apologize, I grabbed the wrong sheet. I was looking at the wrong application. Yeah, they're making the situation better by moving the driveway off of Monmouth Road. And also, the whole purpose of that requirement is to avoid having a car having to back out onto a street within 50 feet of an intersecting street. And here they designed the driveway so that that doesn't have to be done. Yeah,
But the variance is still required.
but this variance
It's
is required.
still required, okay. Okay, thank you.
So that's the second variance.
Driveway.
What?
I bet the width of the driveway in the front yard.
The driveway is okay.
And just as a last statement, that there was a front yard variance in the existing condition. It was required 50-foot minimum front setback from both streets. And the applicant is eliminating that variance and complying with both minimum setbacks in the proposed condition to bring it closer into conformance with the municipal ordinance in that respect.
Okay, thank you.
Fair enough. That's our presentation.
Did you, Mr. Lavin, was there,
Yes, the architect is here, Mr. Levin, if the board has any questions of the architect. Thank you, John.
Welcome.
You're good. Bill, I'd ask that Thomas Levin be sworn in.
okay, if you can raise your right hand, do you affirm to tell the truth, whole
Yes,
truth?
I do.
Okay. I know you've testified before the
Yes,
board.
Thomas Lyman, architect, 3430 Sunset Ave, Ocean. Basically, we're taking the one-story house down, building a new two-story. Everything is within the requirements, setbacks, height, coverage limitations, so
Okay. Any-
that's pretty much it.
Questions from the board? Nothing? Questions from the public or comments from the public? Okay, motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and then, motion for the variances and the waiver with the condition. Someone offer?
Two variances. yeah.
I'll offer for positive
We have
resolution.
the driveway location.
Yes. Was
I'll
there a s-
second.
Okay,
Who seconded?
Mr. Fuller.
Fuller,
Yes.
Delomo,
Yes.
Ashkenazi,
Yes.
DeGenaro,
Yes.
Lineski,
Yes.
Puglielli,
Yes.
Caramanica,
Yes.
Chairwoman Beal.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Best of luck.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
And the last case, Samuel Haber, 507 Stafford Street, West Allenhurst, 07711, Block 67, Lot 8, Zone R5. Applicant seeks approval to demolish the existing dwelling to the foundation and reconstruct a new 2.5-story single-family dwelling with covered porch, rear deck, and AC condensers. I believe someone from Mr. Farber's firm is here.
Yes, we share office space. My name's
Okay.
Timothy Shea, members of the
And
board.
your name is, I'm sorry.
Okay, Timothy Shea. I practice in the same
Timothy
office
Shea.
as well.
Okay.
And I'll just be filling in for this hearing. And my witness that I'll be calling first will be Mr. Feldman. My client seeks to raise the old house on the property and construct a new home. It's an undersized, non-conforming lot. The variances that we asked for relate primarily to the front and side porch, which are the bulk issues regarding the building coverage. We are fine with impervious coverage. There's no issues there. With a few exceptions, the house itself, without the porches, would be conforming. With that, I'll call Mr. Feldman.
And Mr. Feldman, if you can raise your right hand, do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth?
I do.
Okay? And we'll hear from our experts, mark the packet, and then turn it over to you, Mr. Shea.
Thank you.
You know, so just a brief summary is that the applicant had submitted an application which I looked at and I felt there were a lot of variances and I felt it should be redesigned. And I wrote a report. They looked at it and they completely redesigned the site, turning the house 90 degrees, eliminating a number of variances so that right now there are 3 variances that are necessary. The front yard setback variance, the ordinance requires 30 feet. The plan proposes 22 feet to the covered porch and then the attached garage, which is a little over 11 feet wide, that matches up with the front of the covered porch. I don't have a big problem with that. The master plan actually recommends that the ordinance be relaxed in terms of the setbacks for covered porches, and specifically talks about where you have a 30-foot front yard setback required. The porch could extend into the front yard as much as 10 feet. And recommends that that be done for both aesthetic and functional purposes. And basically, the applicant's doing this. The only other change there is that the garage itself also lines up with the porch. And it seems to make sense from an architectural standpoint, but I'll let their architect talk about that. The side setback, the ordinance requires 15% of the lot width in this zone to be on the side setback, and that's 11.25 feet. There's a portion, a small little bump out on what the side of the house that is 9.25 feet. It bumps out 2 feet, it's cantilevered over the side setback, so it doesn't extend all the way down to the ground. The ordinance actually permits an extension of 2 feet into the side yard setback if it's a bay window. So if they were to take this little bump out and put a window in it, it wouldn't require a variance. I think what they're doing is really consistent with the intent of the ordinance. And again, they could eliminate it by putting a window in there. I don't see, from a planning point of view, the need to do that. But that's something the board can look at and see whether they want to see that done. And then the other issue is maximum building coverage. The ordinance permits 25%. The plan is proposing 28.05%. That's a little over 3% more than what the ordinance permits. And again, that's due to the covered front porch again, which is an open front porch. It doesn't really increase the intensity of the use of the site. And in fact, the impervious coverage that's being proposed is below what the ordinance requirement is. So again, we'll hear testimony about that, and you can make your decision whether you think that's appropriate. Like, just dated May 13th.
Thank you, Mr. Higgins. With that, I'll call.
And
Mr.
we'll let Mr. Pavlik go
Oh, I
first.
apologize.
And then you can go.
So we reviewed this application. We issued a review letter on May 14th. Generally, we have no engineering concerns with this application as it stands now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Your turn.
Madam Chair. With that, I'll turn to Mr. Feldman. Could you begin by describing the plans that we provide the board?
Yeah, as Mr. Higgins mentioned, we submitted a plan previous to this one. That plan, the existing house currently fronts on.
Thank you.
The existing structure that's there that we're proposing to raise currently fronts onto Stafford Street. When we submitted the original plans a month and a half or 2 months ago, we also had the house facing Stafford. As Mr. Higgins pointed out, it created significant setback requirements because now, where the lot was at its narrowest, created a front yard and a rear yard setback. So we were encroaching on that, as well as some other variances. After reviewing his letter and suggestions, we rotated the house 90 degrees, fronted the structure now onto Myrtle. And what that did was it allowed us to comply with the house itself to almost all the setbacks. And when I say almost all the setbacks, the house itself, where it sits off of Myrtle, is at 30 feet, so that's conforming. The majority of the home, as Mr. Higgins mentioned, that fronts onto Staffa, also complies with the 30 feet. What doesn't comply with the 30-foot front yard setbacks is the wraparound porch that fronts onto Myrtle and then wraps around onto Staffa. What we then did was, rather than extending the driveway an additional 8 feet and pushing the garage back, we felt that architecturally it made a lot more sense to have the porch die into the garage. So the front of the garage is at 22 feet off Staffa. It still allows for ample parking to come off of Staffa and park in front of the garage. It now creates a much more functional garage space itself, and it's only 11 feet 4 inches in length. That's really within the 30-foot setback. The rear yard, which is now opposite Myrtle, is in compliance, and the side yard, which is now opposite Staffa, for the majority of the home is in compliance except for this little 2-foot by 8-foot 4 bump out that we incorporated. We did that for 2 reasons. One is for an aesthetic value on the elevation, so it creates a little deviation as opposed to having a long plane. In addition to that, what it allows is a 12-foot wide dining room now is 12-foot wide. That's totally usable because it would allow them to put a break front within that 2-foot recess and not take a 12-foot wide room and cut it down to 10 feet, which would be kind of tight if they had chairs on both sides. If the board so desires, we can put a high awning window up there, which would alleviate or eliminate that necessity for that variance. And we still might opt to do that after having some discussions with the client to see, if they want to bring some additional light in here in addition to the 2 windows that we currently have flanking it. The first floor plan really consists of a dining, coming in off of Myrtle, a dining room, living room, kitchen, breakfast, family room, which now fronts the rear yard, and the garage with a powder room. The footprint of the home itself, that's a typo. It is actually 1575.
Bless you.
We're actually allowed, I believe, 1950 in terms of the footprint. So the house itself is significantly under that. As pointed out by your planner, what then pushes the building coverage into the variance situation is the wraparound porch that exceeds about 500 and something square feet, I think closer to 600 square feet. So when you add that porch into the footprint of the house, you are then creating the variance for building coverage. Total lot coverage, we are significantly under, so there's no issues there. Second floor consists of 1, 2, 3, 4 bedrooms and a loft area or play area. We originally designed the home, and the previous application was a home that was designed with a basement. We do have water issues and a high water table on that site, so that has been taken off the table, and in lieu of the basement, which would give them a play area, we created a loft area on the second floor. We also have a set of steps that go up to a habitable attic or a half-story, which would consist of a guest room or maid's room, laundry area, bathroom, and an additional play area or study area. Your zoning officer, Kate, mentioned, brought up a issue that the engineering drawings and the architectural drawings didn't match, in that we had the height of the structure at 30 feet, which is from finished floor to top of ridge, which she said is conforming to your ordinance. The engineer's plans had 33 feet. I believe they were either measuring to grade or to the top of the fireplace. I spoke to Kate, and that's in conformance with your ordinance now.
So is it true that the house mostly conforms, other than the garage and this 2.5-foot bump out?
Other than the garage, the 2-foot bump out opposite Staffa, and the total building coverage, again, due to the porch, everything else conforms.
And as Mr. Higgins articulated, if it was just a window on that bump out, it would actually be conforming.
That
Size the
that
same.
is correct.
What about the driveways, the garage and
Yeah, he mentioned that.
No, it's 22 feet.
It's 22 feet,
You need 30.
30 feet, yeah.
So that's another variance.
Yeah, that's variance.
Yes.
Which he did mention.
That's in your report?
Yeah, it's in my report.
Okay, glad I get your report.
I just sent it to you.
We'll get you the report, Mrs. Steinberg. Okay.
I have his old one.
And, any
And-
other testimony?
No, okay, thank you.
Questions from the board? Questions from the public? If you can share the microphone with the gentleman, and if you can state your name.
William Bowe. I lived at 506 Staffa, directly across the street from this property. Was not aware that the plans have been revised. I got a shotgun notice here that said you were asking for everything, so I'm glad to hear that some of these have been removed. Specifically, I just want to confirm there's no height variance required?
No, there isn't.
There isn't now,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And the coverage is acceptable within,
The coverage is 3% over, Bill, but it's mainly the porch. Is, they could cut the porch down and
Yeah,
comply, but
how
it
about that?
wouldn't look as good.
yeah, well, if they cut the porch down on Stafford Street, that would fix it, wouldn't it? Yeah. If you excuse me and give me a second, I haven't seen this plan. Claire was hiding it when I was there. All right, so the frontage is going to be a 9-foot encroachment.
8 foot.
8 foot, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a foot in between front and front. It's going to be an 8-foot encroachment across the whole
That's
frontage.
correct, yeah.
So I'm going to look at that, okay.
Yeah, and the master plan actually recommends that, but the zoning, they haven't had a chance to update the zoning yet.
Took the steam right out of my sails.
Sorry.
Thanks, Jim.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I mean,
The
then
master
if that's
plan-
encouraged and the
Yeah.
architect and the applicant have met that application requirement, then what can I say? It's a little bit better than what you had first time. You know, if the board is in agreement, you know, the porch is, you know, part of your master plan. I can't argue against it, I guess. This won't impact me anyway. How long are we gone? Okay, thank you. I really have no other questions.
Okay.
Seems like it's
And just.
close
for
to
the record,
conforming.
Mr. Bowe was I guess you're retired now, Bill, or was a land use attorney, and I worked with him many, many years ago.
You can thank me
Just
for
the
Wegmans.
record, it's- There's no conflict there, but I did want that on the record.
Yes,
Okay.
and I know Mark too from years ago, so
Yeah, yeah.
no big deal. I mean, I'm happy. It seems like that we went from a shotgun approach to very specific. I can live with this. It seems like it meets the requirements of the ordinance, so
Yeah.
thank you.
Any other questions from the public? Any comments from the public? Okay, motion to close public hearing.
I'll make a motion, close.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and this one's just for variances, no waivers, so,
Right.
okay. Someone offer?
I'll move for a positive resolution. I'll second.
Mr. Fuller did.
Fuller,
Yes.
Palumbo,
Yes.
Ashkenazi,
Yes.
DeGenero,
Yes.
Lineski,
Yes.
Caramanica,
Yes.
Chairwoman Beal.
Yes. Okay.
Skip me.
Beth- Oh,
Yes.
Told you.
okay, just a reminder, the next meeting is the third Wednesday, June 19th, not the third Thursday, which is June 20th, and motion to adjourn.
Pleasure to meet everyone.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.